Alright guys, so as we've just eaten in here, we're going to leave the kids with a couple of dollars. Well, that was traditional Khmer food and it was fantastic, it was great. But we actually took our driver inside because I've not seen bro for 12 months and I wanted to treat him to some lunch, but he didn't really want to come in if the camera was there, so we did not film our dinner. But great restaurant that it'll take you to if you use bro. And I think now it's time to head to another temple. Hopefully we get another 2 in this afternoon at least, and maybe even 3. So as we're bringing the kids to the tuk-tuk with us, I think, then
I blend in, I think.
yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like mother with her children, doesn't it? Alright, bye-bye kids.
Thank you.
Alright, so that is a fantastic place to stop off. It's not the cheapest of places, but I guess anywhere within the temple walls, you are gonna get, you know, tourist prices, I guess. But what I would advise, if possible, is that people do take their drivers in. I'm not saying that you have to, but I did see a couple of drivers sat outside waiting, and then a couple of the other drivers get taken in. So we did take bro in, he didn't want the camera shoving in his face, so out of respect, we didn't take the camera in for dinner, but it was really good. So I suggest you use bro, come try out that food, because there was a few Westerners in there. So right, next temple. I believe this temple might be the temple with the large trees. Alright guys, so we have made it to the very beginning of this temple, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a big one. It goes on for a long way. So the main entrance is actually closed at the moment. Apparently some rocks have fallen, so I'm gonna head over to the right, walk all the way around and see what it's like on the inside, if we can actually still get on the inside. So look at those trees, aren't they spectacular? And also I think there's one of these trees that actually has loads of bees in there, so let's go and see if we can see the honeybees. That is the famous tree, one of the most pictured trees in the world probably. Most of the time you have to queue up in front of that, so we got pretty lucky today until the security guard ran off to take our photo, so we couldn't really take a photo off there. But okay, so there's plenty to see around this place, and look at these. I find this one of the most stunning places that there is here. So I do personally quite like the tree temple. It's not called tree temple, called Prohm. Prohm. So check that out. Even with the weather not being absolutely perfect, it's a good day for it. One problem, it's hot. Now, everyone is walking around dying here, so it is hot. It's because the clouds are down, so humidity is super high. But there's another queue for another tree. Let's go and see what's going on through here. So the very famous tree just behind us is really busy at the moment, so I'm just going to take a little walk down here and see what there is to offer. I don't think I've ever been down here actually. So it looks like we've got a lot of ruins, lots and lots of ruins. Check that out. Wow. I mean, that is extreme. It looks like a scene out of Tomb Raider. Well, I guess it is, basically. But if you look into the tree right up there, you can see the bees. There's the beehives. And you can see all the honey if you look really close. But check this place out. Pretty excellent, right? It's beautiful. Engravings absolutely everywhere. And the size of these trees, eh? Right, let's go through here and see what there is. Alright, so I do believe that this is an area that was actually set up for the filming. So I think it was going straight through where we've just walked from. Yes, it is. So, I believe Tomb Raider was filmed in this very temple, and it's a nightmare. So basically, they've had a lot of collapses just recently. They've actually shut the main entrance off, and there's loads of places that you can't actually get to now, that being one of them where there was a guard. So we're just trying to work our way back in at the moment. But look at the size of that tree, and it is just full of beehives. Probably can't see, but they are huge, huge. All right. Whoa. So you'd probably think that some of these trees are actually like thousands of years old, but they're not. We asked the tour guide last time we were here, and he says they are a maximum of 250 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So either that's false information or bad translate, or these trees grow extremely quick because they are big. Look at them taking over this. I mean, everyone goes to the famous tree to get a photo. Whoa, I can see why. There's all sorts of bugs around here. Look at that. 200 years old. It's got to be older than that, no? It's a big tree.
Look at the root. The root comes everywhere.
Yeah, so they must grow really, really quick. That's all I'm saying. Ah, the things we do, eh? The things we do. But you've got to take advantage of this. Look at this. There's no one here. So it's known to be super busy here, and it is. But we're actually walking the loop backwards, and we're managing to actually get some good photos, because here's number 2 where there's the actual stand and there's no one again. All right, next photo. All right, so we are making our way back through now, and this is a rather famous part of the temple, and you can see why. It is absolutely stunning, breathtaking, and well, I think this is where the film was actually done for Tomb Raider, so you can really, really, really see why. And I have to visit this tree again because this is where we queued up last year, me and the friends, for a very long time to get a funny photo in here. But you can see why you have to come and say hello to these trees, because they are massive, absolutely massive. And like I say, I think I had a profile picture in there for a good 12 months, so it is a very cool place to come and visit, I have to say. It really is. Look at these. These are absolute madness. These trees are huge, absolutely huge, and they're actually not that old. They're only a couple of 100 years old apparently, so yeah.
And the root got like golden.
Yeah, the root is actually sort of a different colour, but my arm's probably rather shiny going across there at the moment because I'm rather shiny and sweaty. One thing I would definitely have to say to anybody coming here is hydrate, because it is so hot and humid. So be super careful, because I've been out here for 12 months. I am acclimatised a little bit, and everyone is dying today. Everyone. She lived here all her life. She's dying, aren't you? It's hot, super hot. All right. So we are potentially at our last temple of the day. Tickets have been checked on the way in, of course. There has actually been a couple of places where we didn't get our tickets checked, actually. But we're at another ruin. We're at one more. What's this one called?
Tassom.
There we go. Tassom. She's better than me. Now this is one that I've never been to before, so I don't know anything about it. But it does look like it's got the same kind of layout again. A big square with the centre point and 4 points in the corner. But I don't know, so let's go and find out. Oh, and I just got myself some aloe vera water, which is chunky. It's got bits in it. I'm not sure if it's got bits of aloe vera or well, it's like the lychee drink, but yeah. It was $2 for 2 drinks. Standard prices everywhere. It's a little bit dearer than what we're used to in Thailand, but hey ho, we're here. We're playing tourist. We're paying $2 for a drink. That's what we do.
Yeah, just have to get over it.
You just have to get over it. Whoa, that's a big step. Right. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. Check this out for a doorway, eh? This place is super, super peaceful. I have to say, it is really, really quiet. And the engravings are actually still relatively good. Now, the amount of sites there are here is crazy. I think there's something like 40 different temples that you can go to. So in a day, if it's your first time, the ones that we have already done will be what you do in one day probably. Because the first time I went to Angkor Wat itself, we didn't leave there until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I think this is going to be extra for people that are doing maybe 2-3 days. 7 days you'll definitely get here. I mean, anyone that spends 7 days here, you'll see probably everything. But it is really cool. It is really cool. So this is an extra one that we don't usually do it on day one, basically. But it's a shame the places are in tatters, basically. I mean, it must be quite difficult to try and rebuild them to exactly as they were before, and it's hard to know exactly what to do, rebuild them or leave them like this. So I do genuinely think it's probably best, in my eyes, to leave some as complete ruins and then have other ones that are set up pretty much as they should have been back in the day. But get back inside, have a look inside this one, huh? I don't know if you can actually see on there. You have these great big, like, square pedestals almost, and they will have had more on top and water running on them. Apparently, I heard that from a tour guide, so I'm hoping that that's real. Wow, okay. It's like many of these places, you end up in a courtyard, which is pretty spectacular. And I'm just going to be quiet for a moment and just listen to how quiet it is. Alright, so don't know exactly what you can hear on there, but all you can hear is the birds. It is silent. So, the engravings again, this place is covered in them. I mean, covered everywhere. Obviously, this was on there, just like that. Apologies, it is super hot. And then you've still got colours on the walls. The reds are original colours apparently, and the greens as well, but not that green, I don't think. I think that's mould green. But look at it, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. Okay, this one smells of bats a little bit more. Yeah, and probably should not be looking up and talking at the same time. So let's get out of this one. This is the centre of it. And now I'm stood here, I can actually see that it goes on quite a long way in that distance. And it goes all the way back to the entrance down there. The way that they have these things lined up is tremendous. I think it's amazing. It's to do with channeling to the gods and everything going in the right order, the right way. And just look at some of these engravings. I mean, okay, they're not 100%, but these have all been actually in the forest, taken over by the forest for hundreds of years. And how they've survived this long, I have no idea. Look at these. To be honest, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing that we can literally just walk up to them and touch them if you wanted to. I'm not saying that's what I've been doing, but look how good they are. Right, so I think it's all pretty similar in here. You can see that some of them have had some serious damage though. And I'm not sure if these are like from shells or something, but when they had a war, there was a lot of damage here. I think there was a lot of beheading done to the statues, hands cut off, and obviously while there was the battle going on here, there was battle scars everywhere, like guns. But I mean, to have bullet holes inside here, which I'm thinking some of these are, that means they were fighting in pretty close quarters with rather high caliber guns. But that's something that I'd have to find out or look into. So I think we're going to move on to the next temple, which is just through this way. So we are at the final temple for the day, and this is the entrance. This very, very strange kind of moat that's got all these dead trees in here and lots of, well, beautiful lilies actually. The lilies are absolutely lovely. But we're going to make our way all the way down to the last temple of the day for us. So I'll see you down there. This one is beautiful. You go over the big lily pond with the dead trees, then you've got this lovely boardwalk down here, and right now all I can smell is incense, so I'm guessing we are getting somewhere near to the temple. But I do believe where we are with the big lake is the big reservoir. Now that big reservoir is where everything started from for, well, basically Angkor Wat. The whole place was built upon water, but it started with a big reservoir at the top. This is situated in the middle, and, well, this is basically where it began. And it's also, I guess, where it fell. So let's have a look. So in the very centre of this large reservoir and this little bit of land, this is the temple. And even though there is a little bit of water in here at the moment, it's pretty dry. So, I mean, it's still stunning, but the idea here is that you're not allowed to cross the water. Apparently you're not allowed to go to this temple unless the water is dry. So if the water dries up, you're allowed to walk to the temple, which seems really bizarre to me, but it is what it is. Anyway, just past the exit, weirdly, so the exit is just round there, and I think you can walk all the way around here, which is cool, but we just noticed a little bit of a shrine near the exit, and this is probably one of the older shrines from Angkor Wat, so it looks pretty cool. And yeah, so you make your offerings at the beginning, and that is, I'm guessing, one of the modern temples there. Oldest, but more modern than this because you can actually use it. I'm not 100% sure on this, but look at the funky trees, aren't they crazy? Crazy. Oh, and there you go. That's the end of the road, so you can't walk all the way around. So we did see a couple of people over there. They must be workers. And it's the same setup again, but just slightly different. So you've got one centre point, and then you do have the 4 pools, or ponds, or whatever you want to call them. But this time they're actually slightly different because they're outside of the first square. So it's a little bit different. I don't really understand any of it. I think it's just an age thing. This is the older one, and then they develop and they develop and they develop. So they start to bring things in, bring things in, bring things in. I'm not 100%, but there we go. All right, I think we're gonna wrap up pretty soon for a day at Angkor Wat, because I don't know if it's about 5 o'clock now, but we have done a lot. We've done 5 or 6 temples in the day, including the big main 3, Angkor Wat, and you know, I'm so sleepy, I can't even think right now of names. What was the first? Angkor Wat was the first one. What's the second one? Bayon, that's it, yeah. And then, what's the other main one, really? Probably the tree one. That's probably the main one. That's where everybody goes.
The tree one is Prohm.
Prohm.
Yeah.
Well, that's the tree one.
Yeah.
So the tree temple, as I call it, is called Prohm. And so Prohm, Angkor Wat, and I'm terrible with names. Bayon. Top 3, we've done those today as well, so it's a lot. It is a lot. As you can tell, we've been sweating all day because it is super hot, so we need to go and rehydrate, maybe chill for 1 hour, and then go out and get some food tonight, I guess. All right, guys, well, it is always sad when we're leaving Angkor Wat, but that's it, we are done for the day. What a great day it has been, though, I have to say. But the weather's just started to come in. I mean, I can't help but say, there's just temples everywhere, you know? It's somewhere that everyone must come and visit at some point in their life. Definitely. So, get yourselves down. And one thing I would say, hydrate, get a little bit of local knowledge, get a good tuk-tuk driver. If you want, I'll leave a link in the description for my tuk-tuk driver, and okay, he might ask you to buy him a new tuk-tuk, but I think they all do that, and it's just a bit of a laugh and a giggle, and if someone does buy them, great. So you have to take that with a pinch of skin, but he is really good, he knows what he's doing, he'll be there every morning, he'll have the cool box with whatever you want in there basically. We go for water, coffee, and a little bit of soda. And he'll even have cool rags to wipe your face with. But not just that, he knows the orders to do the temples, which if you come here on your own and you are just trying to ride around and work it all out yourself, oh, good luck. You're going to use a lot of energy unnecessarily, and it's a hard enough day as it is. So right, it's starting to rain now. I think we're all right in here, but poor bro at the front's going to get soaked in a minute. And look at that, that's Angkor Wat right there. That's the big moat all the way around. What a way to say goodbye to Angkor Wat, eh? Fantastic. So if you haven't been here, guys, get yourself here. Doesn't really matter if it's rainy season, dry season, whatever season, it's the same cost. The only thing I would say is that this time of year, there's not as many people, which I personally find a massive advantage. I will put up with a tiny little bit of rain. It comes once a day at about 4 o'clock, 5, maybe a bit later. Tonight, 6 o'clock. And there you go. Oh, you can't see Angkor Wat from here, but that's us leaving it behind now. So take me to the hotel and thank you for joining us in Angkor Wat. See you for some food in a bit. Do you want to try? It's like lumpy. It's like vomit juice.
It said น้ำหวานทางหางจระเข้ It's actually from Thailand.
Oh, okay. Oh gosh. Alright. Ant soup. Red ant soup. That's for the tightness.
Like that so much.
Okay, yeah. This one doesn't smell like bats as much, but... In Angkor Wat. See you for some food in a bit. Said that about 3 times.
I know you probably have to do editing.
Huh?
Yeah.
You think I might have to do some editing?